Whatever it takes. I mean, they've definitely become part of my whole persona.
Yeah, I mean, Jason's got his son. You got your cats. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Zach, you want to play the stupid theme song? Then we can get started.
Yeah, sounds great.
Got too many tabs open.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Off the Cut, a podcast where we talk about building, making,
and answering all of your questions.
I'm Eric from Spenceley Design Co.
And I'm Zach from Zach Builds. If you have a question that you would like us to answer on air, you can send it to offthecutpodcast@gmail.com.
You can find both of us on YouTube, Instagram, and unfortunately, because we have to keep up with kids, you can find us on TikTok too.
All right, now let's get into the show.
Welcome to Off the Cut episode 101, where today is known as Wednesday, February 7th, 2024. That's right, folks. We're recording on Wednesday because Zach forgot his girlfriend's birthday was yesterday. And even though we are recording on a different night, we want to continue to remind you that the Green Suiters podcast, the worst podcast available on Apple and Spotify, still sucks. But you know what doesn't suck? Having yet another guest on the show tonight. He's tall, he's handsome, he's trademarked the catchphrase, "Tote a boat, baby." He's got the smallest nipples in the maker community. He might give Zach and myself a real run for our money on being the top seltzer water connoisseur. He's known by many names, including KJ, Morsels, and of course, Publius.
Wow.
But you probably know him best as Keith Johnson. Keith, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Eric. It's a pleasure to be here. Publius. Wow, that goes back to 11th grade Latin class. That's where I got that name.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that bit that you guys used to do on Shop Sounds, where it was like every episode you'd be like, "So what do you actually want me to call you?"
Yeah. I finally ran out of nicknames that I had throughout the years, so it's time to...
Well,
we had
before
to
we
digress.
get started, Keith, you know how podcasting works. You don't make any money without doing ad reads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you have anything to tell the people about KM Tools?
KM Tools, the best stop block in the industry.
When are you going to get a Keith Johnson custom stop block? Do you have one?
No. I don't, all this custom stuff. Enough already. I know my name. I know what my name is.
Well,
I don't cut, but I do. I know some stuff I do like customized. But anyway, back to KM Tools.
Yeah. So KM Tools is for woodworkers, by woodworkers. It's in their store. It's in their shop.
And a portion of all sales goes to the KM Woodworkers with Disability Funds, which helps put tools in the hands of people who need them.
You're right. And what makes us better than the Shop Sounds podcast, available on Apple and Spotify, is that our KM Tools sponsorship gives back to the community. Yeah, every month we're giving away a $50 KM Tools gift card. All you have to do is sign up on Patreon. And today is the big day.
Oh,
we're picking the winner.
draw day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a randomized spreadsheet that's going to pick the winner. Keith, how many times do you want me to refresh the page to pick our winner?
17.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. The winner is Don Patterson at What's Next Woodworking. $50 KM Tools gift card right there. Boom.
Whoa, done. It's in the mail, Don.
Congrats, John.
All right. So, Don, stay tuned. We will send you out an email. Did Don win a month or two ago?
I don't think so.
Are you not tracking who's winning?
No.
I mean, I don't think we have a rule against winning repeatedly, do we?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So.
We make the rules. Whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, all right. Housekeeping's out of the way.
Yeah. Let's get on with the show.
Yeah. Keith, thanks for joining us, man. I know.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to spend a couple hours with us.
Hours? What?
Yeah, this is an AWP.
My agent told me this would be 15 minutes.
AWP, you start at 9 and you end at 1 in the morning.
Well, that was how
man.
mine went.
Yeah.
And like when I went on like a coffee, he texted me. He was like, "Hey, can you go on?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." I had already had like a beer or two beforehand, and then I didn't realize we are gonna stay until 1 in the morning. So like I got up out of the chair and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, I've never been on a podcast where I took multiple bathroom breaks, and it's
Right.
totally acceptable.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we won't keep
Do
it
they
that
all
long.
stay that late?
Yeah.
Or is it
Yeah.
that they really?
They do
Wow.
like an hour-long pre-show, like a 1.5 to 2 hour long podcast, and then sometimes they just sit around and BS afterwards.
Wow. Maybe I'm old, but I don't know if I have the endurance for that.
Yeah.
It's a good word for it. Yeah, that's a lot.
Keith, you and Jason, you guys are just like main show snap after show, aren't you? You just get right to it.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no break.
Usually do a bathroom break because we have small bladders.
I have the bladder of a hummingbird as well, but generally we just power through.
Yeah.
Because he's got to put his son to bed, and I got to put myself to bed. So
Fair.
it's a whole.
And the cats.
And the cats, which is he's
Don't
in
get
bed
him
right
started
here
on the
next to me.
cats. You got Jerry?
Yeah, he's right. That's really.
Let's see him.
There he is.
Oh.
Hi,
Oh,
buddy.
look at that.
So
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
the official count on how long it took you to finish that new studio that you're in? Was it over a year?
Golly, yeah, probably. I mean, I had high hopes and all the pea and vinegar in the world to get it going. Got all the, it was a closet before, so got all the wire racks out of here. And then, like every other project I have and start, I hit these creative design roadblocks. I'm like, what do I really want to do? Do I want to do a desk here or this window? And so it spirals out of control, and I can never make a flipping decision. And that's what happens. Things just take forever.
Yeah,
Is it the
I like-
mindset that like whatever you build, you're like, this is going to be permanent, and I like for whatever reason you think you can't ever change it, and you're like, well, I'm gonna build it. It's got to be perfect from the get go.
Well, think of it this way: it takes me this long to build it right, imagine how long it would take me to tear it down and rebuild it again if it wasn't right. So
True.
Well, then
Yeah.
I guess the follow-up question is it perfect now, or are there things that you wish you could change?
it just needs to be added onto. I need to put a little more soundproofing in here. This whole back
Okay.
wall with this paneling or whatever is going to be cat beds. So there's going to be a little cat wall behind me.
Oh, cool.
So
I
it's
got
like a
more
Steve
LEDs.
Ramsey catification.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That way they're not sleeping on my desk while I'm
Yeah.
Jerry, or playing with the remote control while I'm trying to podcast. So, and I do want to put maybe something on the ceiling a little more, but get some more pictures up in here, make it a little more cozy. But that's really it.
Nice.
So
Nothing
what's the?
structural.
Go ahead, Zach.
Well, Eric, you don't have any soundproofing in your office where you record your voiceovers?
No,
Do you?
I'm in a terrible apartment. I'm in the second bedroom of a terrible apartment with these off beige walls and brown carpet and
I'm looking
baseboard
at
that's
your room, and it's
painted.
pretty much the worst, like, acoustically treated room.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
nothing but empty walls and flat surfaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I got really obsessed with acoustically treating my rooms for a little bit, and then I realized I don't think anybody notices.
Well, I think for like, because I was in my master closet forever, so it had tons of clothes. It was the
Yeah.
perfect soundproof booth.
Yeah.
But now in here, it's obviously a little echoey. But I don't know if you guys have used Adobe Podcast Enhancer or Voice Enhancer. Every time I do a voiceover, I dump all my audio in there, and it gets rid of all the echo, and you can change the percentage that it enhances it
right.
from 0
Yeah.
to. And I do that with the podcast. So, like, right off a raw audio file off this mic in here doesn't sound great yet. But
Okay.
post, it's fine. But I do want to add a little bit more soundproofing. Like people saying above, like in front of me, I have 2 big pillows and 1 fluffy cat, but it's really not absorbing everything.
Yeah.
So
It sounds pretty good on the stream, though. I mean, obviously,
good.
yeah, it sounds fine to me.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my hack is though I have my gain on my mic set to like literally 1 tick above off, and then I'm like 2 or 3 inches away, and it seems to work fine. That's why I do all my voiceovers in here. I have nothing. There's carpet, but that's it.
Well, that helps.
Yeah, carpet helps a lot, actually.
So Keith, you just finished that massive office. What's going to be the next project that's going to take you years to complete? Anything exciting?
Well, I'm currently building a tiger maple bathroom cabinet for a friend of mine from high school who survived breast cancer. So she loves this heavily figured wood. So it's actually going to be a cabinet that sits on her double vanity in her bathroom. So a little unconventional, but it's going to be kind of a statement piece. But I do not work with figured woods.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's stressful. It's you just get tear out at every turn or every cut, and there's just not a lot of room for error here. And I thought I think I started with 50 board feet of curly maple, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be plenty. But you forget when you're building an entire cabinet with drawers, sides, top, shelves, all out of solid wood, how quickly that stuff goes.
Right.
So yeah, I'm out. So I've had to. So for the back panel, which was going to be kind of shiplap pieces, tongue and groove, I ordered some veneer, and I'm veneering 3/8 Baltic birch plywood for like a solid back.
Nobody
just
will
to make
ever
it a little
know.
bit. No, that's just, and then you just, we're talking about how long these things take, because then I hit a design problem. Like, should everything be that curly maple with that orangey kind of dye stain? Like, sometimes it's overwhelming. Like the drawer box is the inside back of the cat. It's too much. So
Yeah.
Been working with my buddy Paul at Copper Pig at Fine Woodworking, kind of figuring out like the best design for this and like where to be a little more subtle. So it's not easy.
Yeah.
So, but I have until I got myself into.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a deadline for this one?
Yes. There's not a deadline necessary for the project, but for this video, I have a sponsor, which it has to be in February.
Yeah.
And so I have to finish building this, get the ad spot approved, get the video edited and ready to post before the end of the month. By the way, and deliver this cabinet to Maryland, which is 4 or 5 hours away. Get it installed, glamour shots, all that, intro, outro.
Right.
And then, Workbench Con is what? I leave the 28th. So I have until 27th.
Yeah.
Which,
That's
3
weeks.
weeks. 3 weeks sounds like a long time, but not in the
it goes
KJ
fast.
calendar. Yeah.
I was going to ask, so the delivery of the finished product is going to be in the video as well?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's tight.
I mean, because it has to be the way this thing is being built. Because it's going on top of a vanity, there's a 3/4 inch backsplash that I have to cut notches for in the side so it goes flush up against the wall. So that has to be done on site, and yeah, it's just I want to get the client's reaction, like when it goes in and all that. So yeah, typically I don't really care about that. It's just like show the project in your shop, get it done, get it over with. But this one's pretty special.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
I mean, that certainly simplifies things, like just being able to finish it. Even if you don't finish it to your level of satisfaction, you have a deadline, you're like, okay, I'll just mock it up, make it look finished, do some glamour shots, do the outro, and then I can go back and tweak things and make it look as nice as I want. But
right.
Yeah, that's a tricky situation you got yourself in there.
Yeah, so it's and then I agreed to it. Another sponsor wanted a video for something that I have to have done by next Wednesday, so I have to film and edit that, but all in the midst of this. So yeah, I might just take all of March off.
Yeah, fair. You should.
That's how I feel too. I committed to our agent was like, oh yeah, like, can you do something this month? I was like, yeah, sure. And then they're like, okay, well, the brand is going to be out of office for the next 3 weeks. So like, once they get back to you, you'll have like 2 days to do any edits. I'm like,
oh, jeez.
What?
Who takes 3 weeks off in February?
Right.
Yeah,
that's
true.
what I thought.
Yeah.
And then I signed up for another one at the end of February too. So I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going to put out like 2 videos in like a week.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh, you know how that works.
But you have the advantage of having a nice back catalog of
Yeah.
videos that you can just kind of pick up and stick the
true.
sponsor read on. And,
Yeah. Do you know that? Do you know my strategy, Keith? I film
don't.
tons of videos, and then I just slowly release them.
You just wait.
I just
How
wait. Like I
many
have like
completed videos.
how many do I have complete right now?
Yeah, they're ready to
look.
go.
I've got 1, 2, 3,
Locked and loaded.
4. Call it 4.5 to 5.
Okay.
Wow.
Done.
Jiminy crickets.
Yeah.
I know, right? It's crazy.
But
But,
even
I mean,
then,
it-
like,
Client builds? Are any of these for clients, or these are just projects you come up with?
No.
Okay.
Zach and I gave up client builds a long time ago. And I thought you did too, Keith.
Well, I was supposed to after this one, and one more I have after this was supposed to be the end for a while. And Jason was right. He's like, dude, you're just gonna get sucked right back. And I've already got a call from a previous client. Now he wants a dining table. My sister wants this and that. I can't get out. Which
the
is
thing
fine.
Is, it gives you stuff to build, though.
It gives you stuff
Yes.
to build, but how do you swing it, Keith, if a client's like, oh, I want you to build X, but you know that X doesn't make for a very good video? Or how do you approach that? It's like, oh, okay, this person really wants a dining room table, but I've already done 3 dining room table videos. I don't know if I have a good hook that I can create around that.
Great question. And I've been very fortunate where most of the projects presented to me are things I haven't done before. However, I got an email the other day, hey, we'd like to order 2 of the end tables that you built. I'm like, I don't build stuff twice or whatever. But then I was like, then they wanted them walnut. And I was like, that video I put out years ago and it got like 2 million views. I'm like, you know what? I can just reinvent that. I have all the jigs. It's going to be out of walnut now. I'll just take a different angle on it, and I'll build them. But that's what I'm always worried about. Typically, if it's something I do not want, I just price it way too high, and I tell them it's going to be 10 to 12 months.
F
And
off
they move
price.
on. Or I don't ship. Like a lot of people all over the country, like, do you no, I don't crate, I don't ship. It's just too much risk, too much effort.
Yeah.
That's what my day job is in, is like logistics and stuff like that. People don't realize, oh, you want to ship a piece of furniture? It's minimum going to be $500 to send it somewhere.
Oh, that doesn't shock me at all. That seems actually
But like
kind of
500 to
cheap.
1,000. If you want to ship like a dresser, easily $1,000.
Wow. Yeah. And I mean, and does that include crating it up and all
No.
that, or that's just you drop off a box and then they transport it for you.
Right.
Wow.
Oof. Yeah, and it takes a day to build a crate. Got to go get the plywood and whatever, and then build a crate.
With the price of plywood these days, what's a crate cost? Dude? A couple $100, right?
Several
Yeah,
$100, right?
Yeah.
So you're looking at like $1,500 plus half a day's worth of work just to ship the damn thing.
Not worth it.
No.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
And then like the headache of, they open it up and they're in South Florida, right? And they're like, hey, Keith, this dining room table cracked. And you're like,
It smelled real good.
sorry. Like, what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah, I don't guarantee for climate change.
Do
Yeah,
you
that's
ever-
exactly. I don't want to worry about that.
Do you ever change your prices depending on how interesting the build is? Like if you think something's going to be like a hit YouTube video, you're like, oh, I would have made that for free. Does that affect your pricing then?
Yeah, I get asked the pricing question all the time. What did that charge? What did you charge the client? And I never give the pricing because I always give concessions because I know I can make money on the back end, with sponsors or putting that content in other places, Facebook or wherever. So if it's an interesting project, and I know obviously my first approach with any client is what's your budget and what's your time frame. And if I can kind of work within that budget and it's a cool project and I know I'll make a good video, then yes, I give price concessions. So that's why I don't like giving prices out to people in YouTube comments.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because it's not apples to apples, and the prices on these things vary greatly across the country from who you are, what the labor rate is in your area. Like we did this project, or I did a huge built-in, a 15-foot built-in. I've got, I don't know how much did you charge the client? And the build was like $35,000. But if I said, "Oh, it's 35,000," like people, how much? And then I'm like, "That's it." And then like because I had, we had demo, we had an electrician, we had drywall work. It was 2 hours travel each way. I was working with another cabinet maker.
Right.
And it was in Philadelphia. There's so many variables when you price out something like it's not a standalone chair.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yes.
it's very difficult to just give prices out to people. And I know they want to like see if they're in the right range when they're pricing their stuff. But you know what? If you're making enough money and you're comfortable with then your prices are fine. It's the pricing. I am going to do a video on pricing and why it's impossible to really make all the money that you should based on your hourly rate. Customers don't want to hear, "Oh, I have to charge you 8 hours because I got to go to the lumber yard. I got to pick out this lumber. I got to bring it home on first round of mill." And that's 8 hours of work right there. And I haven't even built anything.
Yeah.
And if your day rate is $750 to $1,000 a day, that's right off the bat. That's that. And I haven't even done anything or charged you for materials.
Yeah.
Or consultation and design and stuff like that.
The emails back and forth and the phone calls. Yeah. It's really tough to quantify like people. So to tell people you charge a certain thing or you didn't, in this game, it's just difficult. Like if I was just building furniture and not creating content from it, it would be a whole, first of all, I wouldn't be able to make a living. It's just impossible.
No.
I mean, number one, for how slow I build, and number two, I don't know anybody who just builds furniture and makes a good living.
Yeah, that doesn't
who
like
doesn't
teach
write
classes or something.
Write articles or sell plans or create content or whatever other passive income streams. It's just very difficult. If you want to live very humbly in the woods of Vermont, then yeah, it's possible, but I live in New Jersey, man. Bored. It's expensive. Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you get bored if, like, oh, you're gonna build the Jerry coffee table every single week?
Yeah.
Yes, very. Like that's why I don't want a line of furniture where I just like, oh, you want this end table with that? Like, that just seems so like I feel like that really stunts your creativity.
Right.
Now you can get much better and more streamlined at building those things and faster with jigs and efficiencies. But in the end, I
think that's a big part of it. That's where a lot of creativity comes back into it. It's like, okay, you take the creativity out of the construction, the design, and you're being creative about the process of making the thing. Like, how can I shave as many minutes off this as possible to maximize how much money I'm making per unit?
Like a cutting board business, which sounds awful to me, but
yeah. I mean, but what sounds worse? Like work, because I was in manufacturing and printing for 20 years, which I did enjoy. That's what I went to school for. But looking back on it now, like, for people who just don't like their jobs, they're stuck in a cubicle or an office with a boss they don't like and a commute they hate. You know what? Building cutting boards and making $100,000 a year doing that, if you can really pump. And you're working from home. Yeah, I get it. It would drive me nuts, but so would working in a dead end job.
Right.
True.
Yeah, you could knock out a lot of audiobooks though.
Yeah. It's very true.
Are you an audiobook or a music guy, Keith?
I listen to absolutely nothing in the shop.
Really?
Oh my God.
Because I film on my phone. So
you don't have two phones yet?
No, I do, but I just get distracted with, I don't know. I just work in silence. I know it sounds horrible, but sometimes I'll have the TV on, if there's a sporting event of interest or something, or if it's late night, I'm out there, I'll pop on some old episodes of Top Gear or whatever, or Seinfeld. But other than that, it's really just quiet.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy.
No, it does help you. It definitely helps you focus in on what you're doing if you're not distracted by anything else. Yeah. I noticed like a big improvement in terms of my efficiency when I'm not listening to audiobook or something like that, because you're like, oh, I wasn't paying attention because I was listening to my book. I forgot a measurement or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't need any more distractions for the mistakes I already make.
when you're like dialed in and just focused on what you're doing, you're already thinking like a step ahead about the next thing. It's like, okay, I'm done on the table saw, and then I'm gonna, go head over here to the assembly table. I'm gonna grab my glue bottle on the way. It does add a layer of efficiency and, like, I don't know, just being productive if you just focus on what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the phone is distracting enough for me, checking everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'll hop on Instagram, and like every time I see Keith, it's like Keith was active 3 minutes ago. It's like, does this guy ever get off Instagram?
It's just I never shut my app, so it always shows that I'm on there.
Oh,
That's why people are like, "Are you always?" I'm rarely on Instagram. I'm more on you. I'm just checking numbers. That's all I do.
right.
Yeah.
Checking numbers on YouTube, Facebook views, whatever.
Yeah.
So
your content creator.
It's the business.
Your Facebook is going pretty well now. I know we had briefly talked about this, when we were talking back and forth, that one of your goals for 2024 is like stop wasting time on stuff that doesn't make you money. So like, what are your goals for 24? Like, what things are you focusing on and stuff?
Well, my original plan was to get out 2 YouTube videos a month this year, but
Wow.
flipping impossible.
It's so hard.
Because all my projects are just take more time, because every project I want to do something different and learn something and become a better woodworker. And, Jason's the other way. He's like, dude, you got to stop being such a perfectionist to be more successful on YouTube. And my argument is, I don't think so. Because I'm mildly successful there, between there and Facebook, and make a good living. I'm not as successful as him, obviously, putting out a video a week. But man, the stress of that. It's a young man's game. I'm almost 50 over here. I'm more on the cruising. Just as long as I'm comfortable and pay the bills, I don't need to be going balls to the wall. Sorry, Mary. I'm already working 7 days a week, and it's enough already.
So you're not going to just produce 15 Instagram reels a day and get paid absolutely nothing for it?
Boy, yeah, I know. I stopped posting on Instagram a long time ago, unless it was a sponsored post.
Right.
I put up a couple this past week, just because when I start losing followers, I'll start posting again, just to kind of build me back up to my to my number. Helps the ego a little bit. But then I realized why I don't post. Like, I can't keep up with the comments, and the messages.
It's a grind.
Yeah, and again, for no money. Like before, when there were Reels bonuses and stuff, now there's ad. I just got an offer the other day to do an ad bonuses, whatever that is.
I did too, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was meaning to check to see if it came up, because we always share this with people about the absolutely nothing that Instagram pays.
Yeah, it's like a YouTube short revenue. Like, I make 12 cents a month over there on that, which, YouTube Shorts is another waste of time.
7 cents.
Dude.
7 cents.
All right, I'll buy.
How do they expect people to want or motivate people to post on the platform? What's the motivation?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually canceled my Instagram verified thing because I
saw that.
I was having trouble with Facebook. I know we had talked about it, Keith, like the whole, not getting monetized, even though I am monetized and all this other nonsense. So I was like, part of the Instagram verified thing is that you get access to customer service, right? So I was like, great. I'll reach out to them. They literally replied with just like totally robotic blanket statements.
Yeah.
Nah.
And I'm like, what am I paying for? Generally, seriously, what are you paying $16 a month for? I don't think you get anything.
Yeah, I don't know. And I feel like, after the Facebook Reels bonuses ended, they're like, we need a way to get all our money back. So then, like, we'll verify everybody. And I'm sure they made probably all that money back that they spent on the bonus program, and then some. And now they just keep piling it on. So, they did the right. I feel like they all did not the right thing, but did a very useful thing to the community to get more people to post content by paying them for success.
Right.
And, I'd love to see their numbers once they stop those bonuses, what the actual usership on the platforms, how much it decreased. It'd be interesting to know.
I'm also curious because from what I've heard from other creators, I wouldn't know because I'm a Canadian, but Facebook pays quite well for. No, I guess it's like mid-length content, right? It's not a minute content, and it's not 20-minute content, but it's like kind of like in that 3 to 5 zone.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So how is that business model sustainable and profitable to do on Facebook, which is, I would think Facebook has less viewership than Instagram does, but I could be wrong about that, honestly. Yeah, I don't know how that's viable, but paying people on Instagram isn't viable.
I can only imagine that somewhere behind the scenes they're coming up with ways for people to monetize a little better. But this new ad thing where, I'm interested. Eric said 7 cents, but I mean, I don't really plan on posting much more content, so I don't think I'm going to see anything
Right.
really noticeable. But even for a while on TikTok, there was good kind of money to be had over there. So it's like these platforms have to keep enticing people to go one way or the other.
YouTube is really the only one that has had any longevity to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And YouTube is relatively transparent in how it works too. It's like, hey, look, we're going to give you, I think it's a 55-45 split of the ads that get shown on your video. With Instagram and Facebook, it's just like, I don't know, we're going to pay you however much we pay you and you're going to take it. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah. YouTube's had like 15 years to figure it out, and everybody else is kind of playing catch up.
Right.
But you can't tell me that like Instagram and Facebook, they know how much money they're going to make. Like it's.
Oh yeah, but the video stuff, they're still figuring all that out.
I mean, yeah, to some degree. Like they must know at this point how much ad placement in feed and Instagram is worth, or ad placement on the Facebook page is worth, right? Like they have hundreds of data scientists employed at these companies.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm shocked they don't put just like a small like banner overlay on your reel. Like, you're watching the reel or whatever, and then it's just like Pepsi. Like, and then you could click on it. Or like KY jelly.
Yeah.
I don't know. They got to figure something out, because I think Instagram will be dead in the next year or two if they just keep doing this. Because, like you said, Keith, why would I waste my time?
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Like a lot of people are on there because of their business, right? They're promoting products they're making and they're selling. I'm not on there to sell furniture. If someone pays me to sell a product, I'm happy to do that. But other than that, like I'm not there to get people's furniture business.
No.
Some people are, but I am not. So I think for a lot of people, it is a good place for them to advertise their business and get potential customers.
Right.
That's not why I'm there. I originally was just there to share my stuff, and then found this whole community, which has been amazing over these last 6 or 7 years. Met so many people, and become such a better woodworker, more creative because of it all.
Yeah.
But the amount of inquiries that I actually get from Instagram is very low.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad to think about, because you're right, Keith. Like it's kind of dying now, but for a while there was a really vibrant community. Like I met some great people, like Eric and Derek. Like that wouldn't have happened without Instagram, I don't think. Right. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe it would have. But a lot of my friends in the woodworking community I only met because of Instagram. And
very true.
If that goes away, like that's I don't know. That's gonna be kind of sad. So
I think it's funny. And the other day I was because obviously the sticker swaps over the years, right? My cabinets in my shop are covered with stickers, and I just started looking around at all of them, and I'll bet you 25% of them are still active on Instagram. The rest of them are just gone. It was just a fleeting moment. They realized this is too much work. I'm not getting any. There's really no reason for me to be here, and they've probably made their friends, and they probably still interact with them. But as far as posting content, it's not worth it.
Eric and I always joke about the engagement groups that we used to be in back in the day on
Pods.
The
Instagram.
pods.
The
Yeah.
pods.
Like pods or whatever.
And everyone, I'm still in like a group chat from one of these Instagram pods that I used to be in, and every time I go and check on it, I check it in every 3 months or something like that, and it's just the same people complaining about how they're putting in so much effort and getting nothing out the other side.
Mhm.
It's
Then
like
do
such
something
comic-
different, right?
Well, and I want to like grab them and shake them, like go to YouTube, go to
Right.
Facebook, like go somewhere that actually rewards you for your hard work. But
Mm.
Right.
yeah.
It's very frustrating. So Keith, how many of these pods were you in? Do you remember several years ago? Any people of note that you met for the first time in the pods?
I mean, some of my closest friends were from now. So I got a message from, I don't want to give the name, but said, "Hey, would you like to be in our pod?" And I was like, "What's a pod?" They're
Right.
like, "Well, every time we post something, we all go over there and engage and share and help them grow." And at the time, I was like, "No, I'm not.
Right.
I have no interest in that at all." And then I
It's a
looked at the
Mary
list
Kay
of
scam.
the pyramid scheme. And then I looked at the names in there. Okay, Ann of All Trades, Matt at MWA Woodworks, Trent Pressler, Jeff Mack, Bourbon Moth, and several others, which I forget right now. And I was
Got
like,
some heat.
you know what?
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
And it blossomed all these amazing Jason, obviously, and my closest friends. Paul at Copper Pig, my closest friends. Eric Curtis was in there. One of my close friends too. So I am so glad that I changed my mind on that.
Right.
Now the whole built by Stevie, but that whole notion of helping people and helping their content grow and push it and promote it, that was a little weird to me. I didn't like that part of it. But the actual, there were so many, I'm sure you guys the same thing, so
Right.
many great
Yeah.
conversations in there,
Yeah,
and
totally.
funny, and so many laughs were had, and it extended beyond that into Workbench Con and into, we had a whole gathering. All of us went to Nashville, the whole pod, and met down there, and we spent a weekend
Oh,
together.
crazy.
And
Wow.
it's
That's awesome.
just, it's been, I do not know where I would be in my life without Instagram. I know
Right.
it sounds silly, but the people and connections that I've made, even whether it's just regular people or companies and sponsors, all
Right.
because of this platform,
Yeah.
I would be in a completely different place and still working in corporate America probably. So
Right.
Right.
I mean,
That's-
my close friends outside of the woodworking community, they're like, "Oh yeah, you do like YouTube or whatever, right?" But I couldn't. I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, that's fun or that's cute." I'm like, but like you could never be like, "Hey, so I got this woodworking question." Like none of my friends do woodworking, and then when you have
yeah.
you get the whole community from Instagram and stuff. Like you could call somebody up and I was talking to Jason Bent last night for an hour about stuff. Like you can just call somebody and like
Yeah.
they're your good buddies, and it's like
Yeah.
you met this weirdo on the internet that you're never supposed to meet people on the internet or else you'll die.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they become really good friends.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
strange thing. I remember I was at Paul's Copper Pigs. This was last year, and I was there with Eric Curtis, and I think there was someone else, and we were all in their kitchen, and Paul's wife walked in, and she's like, "All right, there's too many guys from the internet in here."
Right.
And that's what it is. It's very strange to think back at what chat rooms used to be and how
yeah.
creepy these things can get. And
Mhm.
now they're my closest friends.
Right.
And amen.
Well, I mean, I think anytime you have a niche hobby, it's hard to find people locally who enjoy the same hobby that you do, right? Like like it's got to be almost 1 in 10,000 thing to be a woodworker in 2024, right?
Right.
So you got to meet a lot of people before you can make even 3 good woodworking friends in real life. But if you go online, you find these communities devoted to things, and then you build some real friendships.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, Keith, I got to ask the tough question. What do you call yourself? If somebody's like, you go to a dinner party with your wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get introduced
True.
to somebody that you don't even want to talk to. What do you tell them that you do? Are you a woodworker? Are you an influencer?
I'm a cat dad.
Cat dad.
Cat dad. And by the way, I don't like that term because I didn't father this cat. So it's a cat uncle. That's what we're called. My wife and I are auntie and uncle to our cats. I tell people I'm a furniture maker.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that I create content around that. That's kind of where it goes. And most people are intrigued by the furniture make, like, the people still build things with their hands. So it generally leads to a conversation. Like, oh, that's cool. So that's generally, it's not, I'm not a content creator because then you always have to explain that. So lead with furniture maker.
I always
Why
say
is that?
woodworker. And then people are like, oh, so like, you like run a whole production cabinet shop? I'm like, no. And they're like, so how do you make, it always gets followed up with, so how do you make money?
Pocket screws.
Pocket screws. Like, I upload videos of myself on the internet and then people go, oh.
I know.
Is that the same reaction you get? It's just like because people,
well, they don't understand. Most people don't understand how this whole thing works as far as content and how you make money on it. Like, if you ask most kids growing up today, like, they want to be YouTubers because Mr. Beast and all these video game channels are just making millions. So, but most people like my age, you guys are younger, they're like, how do you make money doing that?
Oh yeah.
And so, you kind of explain things, and not the risky thing, but the scary thing for me is, like, how long is this? Am I going to be relevant? Or how long is this going to last?
Yeah.
That's why I think Jason, I applaud, I respect Jason so much. I mean, because he's pumping out all this content weekly, and and he says, like, I don't know when this is going to end. So he is just, for lack of a better phrase, milking that cow as long as he possibly can. And because you just don't know, in my case, what if I get hurt? If I get hurt, I can't work. Right. And, I don't have 5 videos in the queue like Eric here waiting to be posted. So it's like, you need to be, debt free, hopefully. So if I do get hurt or whatever, I can cover my expenses for a long time and not have to work. I mean, my wife works, but so it's there's no 401k, there's none of that stuff. All of that stuff you have to get yourself, and it's a lot different than when you have an employer. Life insurance, all these things.
Right. So we had Matt from MWA on last week, and he announced on the podcast that he just quit. So I guess this is his 3rd or 4th day of being self-employed now. He quit his job last Friday.
I thought
5th.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Almost a week.
He's coming up on a week. And so we had a long conversation about that, is because Zach has worked with his dad.
Mm-hmm. We have like a construction home renovation business.
Yeah. Okay. Slowly kind of backing your hours off of that, like verging off. I still have a full-time job, but it's gotten to the point where it's just annoying and it's in the way. And like, of course you do make supplemental income from that, but that is no longer the main driver. But it's like, I still have that, like you said, what if in 6 months this all goes away? Like, do I stay at the job? When do I leave? Right?
Yeah.
It's scary when to make the job. I mean, for me, it was easy because I got laid off. So it was.
God made this decision for you then.
Yeah. And luckily, I had positioned myself over the years where I had, decent following on YouTube and Instagram. I was working with sponsors, so I could make a go at it. It's been very good so far. Last year and the year before were incredible. This year, hopefully, is at least the same, if not a little bit better. But a lot of people are like, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you want? I can't look that far ahead. Like, I can't, like.
That's kind of fun too, in a way. Like, you don't know what the future's going to hold. And by the way, like, you were working for a company and they just decided to lay you off. So that's always a possibility. And I think we discussed this last week with Matt. Like, if you're working for a company, there's this sense of security. There's 401k, blah, 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 blah. But they can also choose to lay you off at the drop of a dime.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they shut our whole plant down. We all lost our jobs.
So at least when you're a content creator, or when you're working for yourself, there might be good days and bad days, but there's probably never going to be a complete lack of work.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate goal obviously is to create more passive income streams so you can make money while you sleep. But where's the time for that? Like, it's like I'm trying to build client work to create content from that. Like, so there's just a lot. And when you're doing it all by yourself, I mean, I don't really. I mean, I want to try to outsource video editing, but it's just I just work differently than most people. I'm doing things kind of out of order, so it's difficult to hand that off to someone. But I would like to, at least to like the rough edit. Like, here's all my stuff. Give it back to me within an hour long, and then I can voice over and whittle it down from there.
Yeah.
But my normal process is to keep up is at the end of the day, I upload whatever footage I did and I do a rough edit on that.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
And when I do that, it makes such a difference. Otherwise, like my last video, I had 12 hours of footage. I just sat down and it becomes so overwhelming to start hatcheting all that stuff up. Whereas if I had kept up with it, it makes it so much easier and more palatable to like, okay, it's, you don't have to take such big bites at once. Yeah. Because like Jason, I always come back to Jason because he'll edit in one day, and then if it's a 40-minute video, the voiceover takes him 40 minutes.
I know. And you write a script like us, don't you?
Flip it. I don't write a script.
Yeah. No, you don't?
No.
Oh wow.
I do it all off the cuff. A lot of times I have to do it 3 or 4 times, certain sections, because I don't like the way I said things. But yeah, the only time I work from a script is like the intro, like where I'm really trying to nail the intro. But all the other stuff in between is just off the cuff and improv. Because I found in the past, I tend to, with a script, I'll stay married to it and I sound robotic. And it's just, guys who are doing not necessarily project builds, but more like informative videos, kind of like Lincoln Street or Suman, and those guys that are like, you can write out a script to all that stuff,
right?
The way, because the material that you're presenting. But I feel like with my stuff, it's just like, I think this video I have coming up next with my friend and her cancer treatment, all that. This is going to be more scripted and more of a story behind this. But other than that, just wing it.
I'm trying to do that.
I think I was born with too many marbles in my mouth, and I think if I tried to just wing it, I would get nowhere fast.
Well, that's why it generally takes me 6 to 8 hours to voice over a video.
Oh yeah, at least same for me.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I don't feel so bad now. So I'll go through my video and watch like a little bit, and then I'll write down some stuff. Write down some stuff. That'll make me take, if it's like a half hour, 40-minute video, that'll maybe take me an hour and a half. Then once I have it written down, I can usually record all of that and maybe another hour and a half or two. So like maybe for a video, like 3 hours for me to voice it over.
That's nice.
Because
I'll spend a whole day watching a video, voicing it over, and then I'll sit on it for like, I'll usually hand it off to my editor, and he'll cut all the footage to match my voiceover, and then I'll watch it again, and I'll be like, nah, I could do that one better. I could do this one better. And I'll go back and I'll like change them all and like redo it.
Oh, you're a psychopath. I don't have time for that.
But I want to make something that's as engaging as possible. I want to have something that keeps the audience like retained at all times. And if it's boring, then people can click off your video at any time, right? So I'm always trying to deliver something and have it be as dense as possible.
But when is it good enough?
I mean, you can keep polishing forever. That's true. But you do hit there's a point of diminishing returns for sure. But I still stand by at least get it all done once, and then give it another watch through, or give it like another listen and see if you can tighten it up in some places. Because you'd be surprised if you sit on something for a week and come back to it, you're like, why did I spend 30 seconds explaining this little bit when it's like it's all shown in this 5-second video clip?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Once I do my whole voiceover, I don't watch my video over again. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either, except when I mean, then the tough part, like once it's edited and voiced over, then it's picking music, and it's
tough.
so painful because you can really I don't want to say make or break, but you can really enhance a video with music,
Totally.
setting the mood and all these things. And I'm just going through trying to find Epidemic, trying to find I just end up using the same songs all the time.
Put it at like negative 30 decibels, so it's just
Yes,
like,
exactly.
It's just a little sprinkle in there, so it's like
Yeah.
I think there's music, but I can't really.
Well, because like Johnny Brook at Crafted Workshop, he's used the same theme song.
Yeah.
This on every video, and he figured it out, and it's smart because you don't have. That's one thing you don't have to worry about.
I know.
Yeah.
There's so many small like I stopped doing color correction a long time ago. I don't have time for that. You still do color correcting, don't you, Keith?
Well, I have a certain I sharpen everything, and then I have a certain LUT.
Yeah.
What a lookup table, whatever, that pretty much works on all of my footage for my iPhone, like in my shop. Which contrasts it up a little bit, deepens it, because that iPhone because I have good lighting, but it can also wash things out a little bit and make it look flat.
Right.
So that LUT enhances it, and the sharpen will obviously make things look a little crisper. But other than that, that's some clips I will have to go in there and do a little more fine tuning if I want to. I just want it to look cohesive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Relatively. Yeah. I mean, it's a friggin' phone, so it's. I look at some of these really polished videos, like Sawyer Design or even Blake Weber, like they look beautiful, like Hollywood movies. But I'm like, people don't care.
Yeah.
They just is the content good? Is the audio good? Like the audio quality, it's got to be good, and is it engaging content? Like you can get good enough video quality with your phone.
Right.
For sure.
I don't disparage people who use DSLRs or anything like that. I mean, I wish I could, but the end result of that, or how much extra work that would be for me. Number one, I would kick that camera over 100 times, and like, oh, there's another lens. So I'm just too clumsy. I don't know what it's funny because like every year or so I'm like, you know what, maybe I will get a DSLR, and I go through all down the rabbit hole of all the research and talk to people who use that. I like Canon, I like Sony, and then I'm just like, fuck it. You know what, this is just too much. I can't deal. The phone works fine, and every phone iteration the camera gets better and better.
Yeah.
So
Zach's a huge camera nerd. He's got 1,000 lenses, probably got like a $5,000 camera body. I got a DSLR camera because I was like, oh man, if I'm going to be a YouTuber, that's why my videos aren't popping off. Because I was using an iPhone 5 that was crap. No, I swear, I was using an iPhone 5 up until like 2020 or 2021.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, this is it. I'm so frustrated. I put all these videos out. No one's ever watching them, right? I was like, I'm getting a DSLR. That was the worst month of my life trying to figure out how to use that damn thing. And now okay, I know how to use it well. I can just pop it out, do whatever.
Yeah.
But honestly, if I could give somebody my camera and they would give me the exact amount of money I paid for it, I would go back to my phone immediately.
I don't believe you.
I would, dude.
You have your phone in your pocket all the time, and yet you still choose to use the DSLR.
Well, so the thing is, I want to be able to listen to music. If you could basically just give me another phone.
I see. Okay.
Or if somebody was like, hey,
See,
I'll trade you give me your DSLR camera. I'll give you an iPhone Pro or whatever. I'd go, done.
Okay.
See, what you do is when you upgrade your phone next time, you hang on to the old one, and you listen to music on it through Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But see, you are under the impression that I actually upgrade my phone. I have an iPhone 10 that's cracked.
If you still got the 5,
it doesn't
play
matter.
music.
I just don't care. As far as the phone, using an everyday phone, it doesn't matter to me. Maybe
I
I'll just
respect
go
that.
buy an unlocked iPhone 15 and just use that as my camera going on.
Yeah, you could do that.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, just
You
put
could get
no
an
service
iPad.
on it.
Get
No,
an
I'm not
iPad
going to be the guy,
and then you
that's
can,
filming like this.
but then you
with
can
his-
edit right on it. You could
Oh.
literally
Yeah.
record a clip and then edit it right away. Be like, I don't need that. Okay,
Yeah.
throw it on the timeline. Good to go.
That'd be nice. Sometimes I wish I had a remote so I could just like.
Oh, you don't have a remote? I love my remote.
I got
Oh, there you
thumbs up
go.
on it.
Look at
There you
that.
go.
Yeah.
How does that work?
What's
It's
this?
nice.
Is this the balloons here? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
My
Oh,
stupid
gosh.
butt.
Do
Yeah.
the double horns.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. That was my favorite.
So stupid. What were you gonna say?
What did you say before you got distracted by the
Stupid
graphics?
cameras. We get it all. So Keith, what you got the newest iPhone? Do you upgrade every
I
year?
do. Yeah. The 15 Pro Max.
Pro Max, huh?
Pro Max.
I like the bigger screen. You know,
You
hey,
get those
listen,
big
these eyes-
Scandinavian hands.
Yeah, well, that's also true. These mitts, look at that, bigger than my head.
Damn.
Those man hands?
Yeah, of course. Well, they're lady finger. I mean, I should have been a piano player, really,
True, yeah.
or a hand model.
Well, Keith, you were talking about like passive revenue streams and stuff like that. How did your course go? Your modern woodworker course? How'd that go?
It was not great. And what I attribute that to is the company I was working with, Teachable. I didn't read the fine print, and
Okay.
Oh.
in that fine print, it said your course is going to be offered at a minimum of $250.
Okay.
Now, I think we all know in our space that's just not a number that speaks to people.
Sure.
Not when the wood whisperer who's been doing his guild forever has nothing higher than $100.
Right.
Yeah.
And they had never done a woodworking course before. And so I had a producer here and the cameraman. Dude, we spent 90 hours in 5 days filming and this whole thing.
Wow.
It was, we call it our own personal Vietnam, and not to belittle it, but it really was. I mean, 2 or 3 in the morning, and then they're back at 6, and and it was hell.
Yeah.
And in the end, we came out with, it was a decent product. I'm proud of what we produced. Unfortunately, it was only like an hour and a half of instruction.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Wood Whisperer is like 6, 7, 8. It depends. If you got Morley who loves to talk, it's like 8 hours of, which is all good stuff. That's what you want. You want
Right.
all that extra detail. And they're just like, no, I was like, well, I need to go in a little bit deeper on this. Like, no, that's it. We don't have time. It's like, okay. And so I was comfortable with the content at a certain price point, and the price point was not $250. Number one, they started, of course, in this advertising game they play where it's $4.99, but get it early bird for $2.99 or whatever. And
Yeah.
I lost my professionalism on a lot of these calls with them because I'm like, I hate this advertising voodoo BS. This is like, we're much smarter than this. Like, don't tempt me like, oh, if you don't get now, then it's gone forever.
No,
I'm like,
not.
oh, this is how it works. I'm like, this price is too high. It should be $99 maximum. It should be like $79 to start before the price goes up to $99. Like, you just have to look at what is in our space. And to me, even the Wood Whisperer said, he goes, I'd love to charge more, but people would crucify me.
Yeah.
So like, he is the gatekeeper, I feel like, for these courses. And look, like, everyone kind of followed suit. When Four Eyes, they came out with their courses, they were like $99, right around there. Like, to me, that is an impulse buy number. Even if they never watch it, people will spend $99 on something. They don't have to ask their wife, hey, I have $299. Can I? What is $299? And you got to buy $500 in materials, and you're going to be in the shop every weekend for the next 2 months building this? No. So there was a lot, because this wasn't a beginner project. Listen, I got my money back for my time and then some. Now, when my contract ran out with them, it wasn't even they kind of just not went out of business, but that whole program I was in, they cut it And then they're like, okay, everything is yours now. You don't have to give us a dime. You can do whatever you want with this.
Oh.
You figure it out. But then it's like trying to figure out how to adjust the website that they created on this unbounce or whatever. Like I had to do all of these. So I was able to knock the price down. And so now I feel much more comfortable selling it. And, like sometimes in my Patreon, I'll do giveaways. I'll give away a free course to somebody. But, these courses that are a little bit more advanced, the funnel isn't, we're down towards the bottom of the funnel there. There aren't as many people down there as like a Steve Ramsey beginner course. So, I definitely didn't hit my projected number of what I wanted to sell. But in the end, it made some money, but it's not. And, I asked Brad Rodriguez this a couple months ago. I was like, all right, so I had this course. It kind of jumped the shark a little bit. It kind of ran out of steam. How do I continue to promote this? Like where? And he's like, you don't. Like, it's just like, what? I mean, how would you even start re-advertising that to people all of a sudden?
You can have like a little plug in your YouTube videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if people have seen the project before, they're like, or it's just like, oh, I think that end table's ugly. I don't want to take the course, right? Like that's what's challenging.
Yeah, it's very difficult for me to promote myself, especially then you're just putting like another ad in one of your videos.
Right.
Like, hey, if you see this, there's my affiliate code down below, and here's the links down below, and everything becomes a pitch.
Yeah, I get that.
Which is why I don't even say subscribe, or if you like subscribe. I don't even say that anymore.
Yeah,
there's a certain
people know
magic that I found to like the 5-second pitch where you can be like, and by the way, I have this course that's linked in the video description. That's it. It doesn't need to be like this big thing. It's just like, and people don't find that as offensive because it doesn't, it's not something they had to get up from viewing to skip or something like that. It's just, a very quick little mention. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of challenges, but so we got some more questions for you, Keith.
Okay.
But we're gonna do those over in the after show because we're already getting to an hour long.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
timer.
We forgot to announce we got new patrons this week, Zach.
That's right.
Yeah. So huge shout out to our two new patrons.
Two? Oh my god.
We've got Brett, and this is gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna say
I love these ones that stump Eric.
Jerron Van Barson. So Keith, how would you say this? Jeroen.
Ooh, that's either Jerome or Jerron, because the OE is usually O. Jerome.
Yeah.
What about?
I would go Jerome.
Jerome? Okay.
Yeah.
What about Barson?
Jerome.
Baarsen.
Barson. Yeah, I think Barson.
Yeah.
It could be a Boston. It could be Boston.
Awesome.
Anyway, huge shout out to those two, and also we have our returning top tier patrons, Goblin Spanker. Do you like that one? That's apparently it's a real name.
That's on his driver's license.
That's right on his birth certificate.
Mr. Spanker, do you know how fast you're driving? We got Dan R. Menderes, Luke Schmidt, Josh at Freedom Workshop, Corey Duvall, Dadu, and the rest of our patrons who are helping making this mediocre podcast survive. We will meet you guys over at the after show, and all the freeloaders, thanks for checking us out, and we'll see you next week.
See you, everybody.
Thanks for having me on.
Was Suman trolling in the live stream today?
He's making some good points.
He was hanging out.
Wait, where am I?
He offered you free
comments. There's comments?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, I didn't even have that on. Oh my gosh.
That's all right. A lot of times it's distracting. Like somebody will say something, and then we'll all go.
Yeah. Squint.